as well get used to this. Huh? Ready? Good evening. We'd like to call the meeting to order of the Vigo County Council tonight, Tuesday, January 4th at 5 p.m. Could you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call the roll. Councilperson Thacker. Here. Councilperson Norris.
Here.
Councilperson Thies.
Here.
Councilperson Wager.
Here.
Councilperson Wilson.
Here.
Councilperson Thompson.
Here.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Here.
I'll now open the floor for nominations for the election of officers. So open the floor for nominations of president.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Loudermilk for president.
Any other nominations or discussion? Okay. Councilman Loudermilk, looks like you're up.
Do we need to second it?
Do
Do
vote on that?
we need to second?
No. No.
No. Okay.
No. Yeah, there's no. Not for one.
So I guess I'm it. There's no other nominations, so I guess there's
Open up nominations for vice.
there's no need for a vote. So now I'd open up nominations for President Pro Tem. Councilwoman Wilson,
I'd like to nominate Dave Thompson for President Pro Tem.
Councilwoman Wilson has nominated Councilman Thompson for President Pro Tem. Are there any other nominations for President Pro Tem? It appears there are none. So likewise, we will not have a vote. Councilman Thompson will be President Pro Tem for 2022.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Moving on, we have adoption of rules. Everyone should have before you a document titled Top Rules of the County Council, Vigo County, Indiana, 2022. It is a 10-page document with 16 rules. As I believe everybody should have received that along with a tentative schedule, meeting schedule for 2022, and an email. As you go through the rules, there are some highlighted areas, which would be the amendments, essentially the changes from the 2021 rules of the County Council. We can go through these individually if council members would like for us to do that. I think much of it's pretty self-explanatory. Some of the changes were due to having a sunshine meeting. Also, there was changes with a couple rules pertaining to tax abatement requests and how those are heard. Yes.
In regard to the election process, it probably would be in order to have a vote on that since our rules require that it be elected
Okay.
by a majority vote. I
That's fine.
apologize for not saying so.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. Okay. So we'll hold off.
Cheryl, could you call the roll for nomination
Council President for the nomination.
Yes.
Roll call vote for Council President as nominated. Council President Loudermilk, Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Thies,
Aye.
Councilperson Wager, Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye.
Would you like a roll call for the pro tem?
I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay, we'll have a roll call vote for Council President, or, I'm sorry, Council Pro Tem, Councilman Thompson. So, Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Thies,
Aye.
Councilperson Weger,
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson,
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson,
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Thank you. Getting back to the rules of the council. So much of the change, as I said, what you'll see it in the beginning was referring to, pertains to the sunshine meetings, and then follow-up after that pertains to the tax abatements and how those are heard. Then also there was recommendation in Rule 12 for the order of business, the addition of resolutions and ordinances other than appropriations. And items such as that would be tax abatements or other types of resolutions or ordinances which are not actually appropriations from the council. So as I said, I think much that's self-explanatory, but be happy to open the floor for any comments or questions or any other suggestions you may have at this time.
President Loudermilk, I have just one question. Since I am bringing some ideas about the abatement process, potentially with the scoring sheet, hopefully by February, will that change any of the rule part of it?
So, no, it wouldn't necessarily change, but
Okay.
if we felt like as a council that something needed to be changed with the rules as it pertains to abatements,
Okay.
we have the
We can
opportunity to do that at a later
Okay.
date.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? There's no other comments or questions or concerns. I would entertain a motion to accept the rules for 2022 as presented with the amendments that are highlighted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Thompson to approve, a second by Councilwoman Thies. Any questions or comments before roll call vote? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Thies,
Aye.
Councilperson Weger,
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson,
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson,
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have the establishment of a tentative meeting schedule for 2022. You should have before you a two-page document. The title of the first page, Beale County Council Tentative Meeting Schedule 2022. And that would be the proposed meeting schedule for the Sunshine Meeting and voting meetings for the 2022 calendar year. Second page is the Beale County Council important dates. And those are the filing deadlines, publication deadlines, first readings, and final vote. Again, this should have been circulated in an email that I think went out to all council members. As you will see, there are two meetings in April, one in May, one in October, and two in November, in which we had to find an alternative location due to early voting being here in the council chambers. So Council Administrator Miller has coordinated with the city to have our meetings at City Hall, which that is something that we also did in 2020. Are there any questions, concerns about the meeting schedule? Yes, Councilman Wager.
Are we meeting on Election Day?
May 3rd.
Yes, it is, yep.
So is November 8th.
And November, same
November
thing.
8th,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Correct. So I guess 2020, we didn't really run into that problem because we didn't have the sunshine meeting. We were able to push back and, right. Will the machines be out of here by then and everything be cleared up to where we'd have the opportunity to do that? I'd say likely not.
About a week.
They would be? So that's easy enough to make that correction for both those dates.
So just maybe
There's-
to the Wednesdays after?
Do we,
Wednesday, so.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Do you want to do Wednesday, May 4th, and Wednesday, November 9th? Is that what you're looking at?
yes. Are there any dates here that in September, October, that would conflict with any conferences? I know sometimes we have those issues. Does everything look clean as far as you can tell from the auditor's office perspective? I know there's some different annual conferences in
Yeah.
September and October. Is
I
everything
think September's early enough, and I think October looks early enough.
okay? Any other conflicts or issues the council may see at this time? So for point of reference, for the important dates on the following page, we really have to modify, I think we're still good there, right? Other than the, obviously the final vote date and the sunshine meeting in May will change, that date. The final vote date in November would change. It can stay the same. Is everyone? Yeah, let's just keep the filing deadlines and publication deadlines consistent with Mondays and Fridays. That way it's not, doesn't become confusing. So on the second page, the first reading for May would be Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. And the final vote for a regular meeting, the November meeting, would be Wednesday, November 9th. Right, location.
Yes, on the, in regard to the meetings in May, the note can be stricken from that since apparently the sunshine meeting will now be a change chair. And then in regard to the November meetings, I think it'd be appropriate to just say the sunshine meeting to be held at City Hall courtroom for other folks.
Any questions? No further discussion? Probably need a clean motion to clean all this up, then vote. Councilman Thompson.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative meeting schedule for 2022 with the changes of Tuesday, May 3rd, changed to Wednesday, May 4th, and the sunshine meeting, and in the notes, the sunshine meeting to be held at its regular location. And the change in November from Tuesday, November 8th to Wednesday, November 9th, and the sunshine meeting to be held in the city corner. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Thompson, second by Councilman Wilson. Any questions? Ask for roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Wager.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Everyone made note of we have noted the important dates also. I don't think we need to make an amendment to that, do we? It's just for our point of reference. You'll send out clean copies to everyone? Okay. Okay, thank you. Moving on to public comment. Offer this time for public comment. Anyone in attendance that would like to speak at this time? Now is the opportunity to do that. You can approach the podium. Please state your name and your address and have the opportunity to address the council. Do we have any email correspondence, Ms. Miller? Okay. Looks like there is no one here that'd like to speak. Moving on, communications from elected officials of the county. Does anyone like to speak at this time?
Good evening, Council President Loudermilk, members of the council. I want to talk to you guys about something real quick. In 4 or 5 months, our new Vigo County Jail will be completed, but it will probably be 7 to 8 months before our inmates are moved over. So I wanted to ask you guys if you guys wanted to think kind of broadly with me and maybe make an impact locally and everybody participate in this. We're seeing, counties all over the state that are investing ARP money in several different things. This could be something that we could use this money for. It could not, depending on how you guys want to do it. And working with Chief Deputy Auditor Loudermilk or Mr. Bramble when he gets back, I thought it would be a great idea as we start to move inmates into our new jail. We offer a $100,000 grant, split 5 ways or 4 ways, to local recovery agencies. It's an investment not only in the jail, but it's also an investment in keeping people out of jail. And a lot of these local non-for-profits or local recovery groups are operating on a budget that is really no budget. I mean, $2,500 a month or something like that. So if that's something you guys would be interested in doing, I'd like to know. And then maybe by February, we can come up with a way of maybe having 5 or 6 groups come to the council one meeting and doing a 5-minute presentation on whatever, and you guys can choose which groups you'd like to make that award to, and we can award them a check at the day that we open the jail, or whatever you guys want to do. But this seems like a good way to utilize some of that money if we can from the American Rescue Plan, or if you guys want to pull from the general fund, or however you guys want to do it. But if you're open to that idea, I will continue to work on it, and we'll make something happen.
Any questions from council? Councilman Wager?
Commissioner, does that ARP money have limitations on what kind of groups that can be?
It has plenty, and that's what I'd like to sit down with Cheryl or Ms. Laudermilk and talk about, and actually some other counties and talk about. I know some counties are investing in mental health programs and stuff, things of that nature, but I think, it's obvious we have a substance abuse program in this county, and we see a lot of people that probably should stay in jail and be in jail, but we also see a lot of people that certainly are serving sentences for something they just can't get control of. So, if we can use that ARP money, that's the route I would like to take. I have not spoke to my other two commissioners about this. I wanted to come to you guys about this first tonight and see what you thought, and then moving forward, we'll go from there.
Can it go to, like the problem-solving court, like the drug court, or,
However you guys want to do it.
I mean, can it be designated for those courts, those?
I will find out. I will find out.
That-
I just
that
wanted
might
to,
be a
I just kind of wanted
possibility.
to gauge your guys' interest to see if it's something you wanted to, pursue, because if it's not, we'll just continue to kind of let the ARP money sit there until we can get some real definitions on how we can spend it.
It's a good
So if you're
idea.
interested, I'd be happy to make something.
Do we have some clear-cut guidelines at this point that we feel comfortable with?
They're really vague. I mean, Cheryl might be able to talk on it a little bit, but we're reluctant to spend any money just because we may spend it and have to pay it back. So
Right,
we'd like a
right.
final definition on.
I don't know if I can give much more clarification, but their guidance coming out every day. So they're still working on the final guidance, but we will be working with the accounting firm that they have hired to help through that, because it is a big process and a big undertaking. So there will be a firm completely giving them guidance on as to who they can direct that funds to and help them build a plan or the funding to bring to the council to appropriate.
And it doesn't have to be $100,000. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of money we spent on the jail. But I think in a good faith effort to our community and to those folks that are struggling with addiction and things of that nature, I think this is a good way to show that, we're here to help them and, try to get them in the program they need.
Councilman Thacker?
Yeah, I would like to first congratulate you on your new position as elected today.
Thank you.
And then I too think that this is a goodwill gesture, and whatever the council and the commissioners can work together with the auditors to come up with, I think I would be supportive of it, the process anyhow. And I do understand that we have to have a plan of action for the ARP money, and then so I would be interested to see that. A lot of people are interested in that as well. So I thank you for bringing up the idea.
Yeah, well, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all of our names on this big building, and, I think the legacy I'd like to leave behind is doing something like this, and I'm sure you guys would be too, instead of just having our names on a building. So,
Just rest assured that there'll be no spending of the funds until it comes to the council for appropriation anyway.
yep.
So the council will be in the loop of the plan that the commissioners have.
Right. I just want to, I know we've been cautious thus far just because the guidance has changed dramatically over time, and it's just kind of touch and go. I'd hate to be, I support what you're talking about 100%, but I'd hate to be in a situation where we spend $100,000, then all of a sudden we have to only repay it out of the general fund or some other fund.
Yeah, sure.
to
And
replace it.
like I said, President Loudermilk, if it's ARP route we can't go, if we can still find a way to come up with some money to, and then however you guys want to do presentations or selections of people that you would like to give that money to, I know that would help out greatly. So,
Okay. Sounds great.
Thanks.
Councilman Thies.
Something I'd like to see, just because if we're looking at like local organizations, is possibly before the presentations, developing some sort of like checklist or criteria. That
absolutely.
way, if an organization doesn't get it, we can very easily support why or why not, or how they can improve for future
yeah, so
things.
like how I'd like to move ahead is if you guys are interested in this, which it seems like you are, I'll reach out to the Wabash Valley Recovery Center, get a list of groups locally in the community, get their interest, and then if you guys want to help me come up with a way to determine which ones we like to have here or how you like to award that, we can move forward.
Well, and I have a counseling background, so I'm glad
Yeah.
if you need help with it, I'm glad to work
Okay.
with it.
Absolutely. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Communications from other officials or agencies?
Is this where I would address what I have brought? about
Yes,
the
yes.
Okay,
if that's
thank
what
you.
want to
Thank
do
you,
at this time.
President
Yes,
Loudermilk. I was waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
Calista had handed out prior to the meeting, the city councils, actually their abatement process. As mentioned before we ended the year last year, I think we all expressed some sort of interest in having more of a process in place for abatements and criteria, and specifically a scoring system. So I met with several people who had worked previously on some research and kind of ideas behind it. So in doing so, I know the city is potentially looking at some updates as well, and I think it'd be nice if forms are somewhat in line or similar. I know sometimes we're different beast in some ways, but we kind of worked at looking at the city forms, what could be updated, what could be clarified, what could be maybe more specific for the county. And so what I've provided for you is notes from the meeting with a member of the city council, and also I met previously before developing this with Steve Witt, and just some notes and ideas. But before we go completely into the form part of it, I'd like to gather some feedback. So if in the next couple weeks, if you could give me any kind of notes, or if you see anything that you disagree with, let me know. And I'd like to work with it to potentially bring it to the Sunshine Committee in February and move on it so we can get it in place as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, I tried to write very neatly and do it that way. So, but it's something, Calista was very helpful because, she's worked on her side of it too. Just caught some things that we could, I think, make things a little bit more specific. And I think our goal is to make it as easy as possible for people who are applying form-wise to go through and see a checklist of maybe things that we might be looking for. So feel free to fire them back at me, or you can email them, or if you have any questions, please let me know, or you can direct them to possibly Calista as well. She's been really helpful with the process in the past, and I know had some meetings in the past too.
Calista, is this the same or a similar scoring sheet that we had previously looked at?
Are you talking about the one that had been developed previously by a council member?
It looks, there's similar pieces.
There's
if I can
some similar
recall.
pieces that the actual form is not, this is the city form.
Right.
But if you look to the page, I wrote some notes on one of them specifically. Let me find the page for you. It's the one that probably has the most writing. It's the end of Exhibit A. Well, actually, it's in the middle of Exhibit A. I wrote notes on sample spreadsheet that had been developed by former council person, Lisa Spence, and I kind of just added some clarity of what we can put on it and not on it. There were some things I think that could be very helpful, and there were some areas that might have been too specific as well. So, if you have questions about that, that's just some of the things that stuck out to both myself and other members that had worked on this previously.
The document that was reviewed 2 years ago, maybe, it was not as easy on the eye. It was in a very draft version, but one of the things they had things that would subtract instead of just adding bonus points, and I believe that was one of the things that Councilwoman Dees wanted to stay away from. Also, I think maybe the ranges, we need to look at salary ranges and maybe be a little bit more specific about benefits and things that were offered. That was another goal of this time around, so.
Because the previous one, was it essentially a baseline, and there were just, the deductions from there based upon not meeting certain matrix. Is that how it was
I
established?
don't know if there was a baseline. You got
It was-
points for certain
There
things.
were ranges, so if your salary ranges were between A and C, you get 1 point. If it's between D and F,
Wow,
you know.
19.
But there was some deduction part of it. I think one in particular was like environmental issues or things like that that were deduction parts of it rather than bonuses.
I think that was 19. It's been a while, so I'm trying to recall.
Yeah, but
It was
It
right
was in
before,
her
it was
last
right
year
before
for term.
COVID hit, pretty sure.
it was before the end, I mean, it was in the year before.
Because that's what, yeah.
So if you came on in 20, I'm thinking it was 20. I don't know though. It was before COVID hit. Well, your 4 at-large, or 3 at-larges are 20.
So it would have been 19.
I mean,
I think
they
it was
came on in
19.
20, they were elected in 20, came on 21.
So,
Nice.
okay.
And we can develop, I mean, I understand, we'll develop a form that you will be able to see first. It's not gonna look like this, but I wanted to gather input first before we got into the nuts and bolts of a form. I had worked with councilperson Martha Crossan too on the city council, and just kind of gathering some feedback since she had worked with the previous group. And, you know, just kind of gathering there, and my idea is to run it by a couple people before we present it again, but I'd like to, you know, get your guys' feedback before we, you know, actually make the forms. But I'm making it, I'm all about as simple and straightforward with those guidelines in mind.
Any additional thoughts or questions from council? Councilwoman, please.
I just wanted to thank you for all the time that you put into this.
You're
It's
welcome.
awesome.
I think there had been some work done before, so I was able to gather it, but, you know, I think it's time we move forward on it. And I know it's something several of us had felt very strongly about. So.
Thank you, Marie. Appreciate it. Any other communications? Okay. Moving on, ordinances not relating to appropriations. We will now have the public hearing regarding the tax abatement. So it's public hearing regarding Resolution 2022-1, confirmatory resolution for the designation of an economic revitalization area on the application of Great Dane LLC and tax abatement. So open up this time for public comment. If there is anyone from the public who'd like to speak, now is the time to do so. We'll open the floor for that. Appears there's no one from the public who'd like to speak. So we'll close the public hearing at this time. We'll now move on to Resolution 2022-1, ROC 2021-052, confirmatory resolution for the designation of an economic revitalization area on application of Great Dane LLC and tax abatement. And this is the third hearing. And we have representatives from Great Dane that are here that have spoke to us in the past. We've asked questions. They've given detailed presentations about what they're looking to do, what they're able to offer. There's information in your packet as well pertaining to the abatement itself. And you have the resolution within our packet. So I would offer this time for any comments or discussion. If you have questions of the representatives present in the room, I'm sure they'd be happy to speak. Any comments or questions from council? Councilman Thacker?
Yeah, this is a question for the officials of Great Dane. If you could, come up. With the, we hear all the time about the manpower shortage,
Yes.
and I know this is based on that you retaining or hiring more people. Has anything changed since the last time we spoke in November that's going to impact your ability to meet these numbers?
No,
Okay.
not this time.
I just wanted, I don't want to take it for granted, so I just wanted to clarify that, so, good.
Nope, nothing's changed.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Might be easy for you.
Yeah.
All right, there are no other comments or questions. I entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
So we have a motion to approve on the floor by Councilman Norris, a second by Councilman Thacker.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Appears to be none. I'd ask for roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Dees,
Aye.
Councilperson Weger,
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson,
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson, Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, council. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Moving on, appointments. We'll hold, be no appointments tonight. Those will be handled in the February meeting. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion on the floor by Councilman Wilson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Thompson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, no.
I thought you were gonna